is a show that focuses on the person behind the brony. I'm your host, Osaka Jack. Please sit back and relax as we talk to this week's guest brony. Hello, everyone. This is Osaka Jack with Into the Spotlight, and today's guest is someone that goes by the name of Snapai. Hello, how are you?
I'm pretty good.
Did I pronounce that correctly? It is
Yes,
Snapai.
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 Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, yeah, either way.
Oh, either
You,
way.
you got all the vowels pronounced correctly.
Okay. Snapai would work then. Well, what is the inspiration for the screen name, if you don't mind me asking?
um, well, ages ago when I first got on the internet, I decided I would create a dragon character for being on the internet, and
Okay.
my my mom had a shirt that had little snapdragons on it that looked like the flower but were actual little dragons. So I'm like,
Ah,
oh, that's clever. No one will have thought of that.
right.
I'll go by the
Right.
name Snapdragon. And then there were a bunch of people who went by Snapdragon,
Okay. Okay.
and so I managed to shorten it to Snap
Uh-huh.
in a lot of the circles I was in, but at one point I joined Artside and
Hmm.
um, that was taken,
Okay.
and it was about the 10th time or so it's taken. So I'm like, well, I'll go on Wikipedia and look up Japanese honorifics because that's what everyone does anyways. And I saw the senpai thing on there, and I'm like, let me just rearrange that and make it Snapai and see if it trips up anyone who's really into anime.
Okay. All right. All
A few people have actually, have been like, hey, senpai, I mean, Snapai.
right. Very clever. So even if you're meeting somebody for the first time and you're the junior, then they still are almost calling you senpai. Well, on that, yeah, you mentioned dragon. I know on your deviant art, there's your icon is a little animation of a yellowish dragon. Is that the character that you
Yes.
designed? Okay, okay.
Yeah.
And it looks I don't know, it looks to me like the character is saying, "Do you want some pie?"
He's actually saying for pie. I
Or pie.
animated that right after Family Guy did that segment in the Disney style.
Oh, okay. Yeah, when they
That
did the alternate universes.
Yeah, the alternate universe. It was like Road to the Multiverse
Right.
episode,
Multiverse, right,
and
right.
everyone I knew online was like, "Oh my gosh, that's the most awesome thing!" And I was already doing animation at that point, so I'm like, "Yes, that is. I think I'll do fan art of it." So I did my
Ah,
character holding up a pie for pie.
okay, all right. It's difficult to visit your page for too long without getting hungry because you just see this for pie, for pie, for pie,
Pie.
for pie. Yeah, okay.
I should edit it so I'm holding up Pinkie Pie
Ah, there we go.
for pie.
That would work very well, actually. Yeah, for a pinkie pie.
Yes, yeah. To have all the secondary animation on our main, so it just goes sort of boing.
Yeah, that would work. Yeah, I want to see that now. Yeah, heck
Yeah,
yeah,
kind
absolutely.
of a little cat-sized pony, like you'd hold up a cat. Well,
Well,
you'd hold up a cat in a way that would annoy it when people hold them up for cameras, anyways.
right, yes. Well, how did you get started in animation? Because I know that on your DeviantArt there's quite a few little animations which are very impressive.
Well, I actually went to school for it, but I guess before that, well, all throughout like elementary school and
Uh,
middle school,
yeah.
I was really into computers and that sort of thing, and I'm like, well, obviously I'm good at computers. Art's for people who have this magical talent that is the ability to make art, and that's obviously not for me. And then somewhere during high school, I think it was,
Mm,
I picked up one of those like how to draw cartoon books
yeah.
and
Okay.
started looking at it. It's like, wait a minute, this is actually teaching people how to do this. This isn't just some magical skill that you're gifted when you're born. And that's what started me on art. And then
Okay. All right.
I wound up going to an engineering college for about a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
At which point I decided, you know what? I think I want to go to school for this. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was finally, yeah, I was in the program that NC State called the first year college for a year and a half, and
Okay.
then I finally decided to think about careers,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and so I sat down and tried to imagine what the most boring possible job in each career track would be.
Okay. Okay.
And I figured if I went into animation, even the most boring possible job in animation would still be more fun than, you know,
Okay.
some uh, the most boring possible job in another career.
That's interesting. I haven't heard anybody look for a job based on worst case scenario before. That is interesting. So you were thinking, restaurant, I'd have to clean out the glue traps every morning. And let's say if I went into public speaking, now I'd be the one who has to teach the preschoolers how to clap and dance. And interesting.
Yeah,
So
so
in
if,
that
if, if
mindset, which careers did you immediately decide? Nope, not this one.
um well, I honestly can't remember.
Okay.
I just a lot of the careers that people wind up stuck in actually.
Okay.
It's not. I'm not thinking of like there's plenty of people in IT where they their job is just a job, but
Yeah.
they get paid a lot and they have a great life outside of IT,
Sure. Sure.
as well as getting to work with computers every day. But just you know thinking about the person who gets handed a script is like, okay, type in these 6 commands every day. That's their
Yeah.
job.
It's I just get the image of George Jetson sitting at a desk pushing a button nonstop all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a difficult one.
Yes. So my mental image of the worst possible art related job would be like, someone who's sitting in a blank room and has to draw cubes over and over and over. Nothing
Hmm.
but cubes.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like the old Sherlock Holmes story where this guy was like conned into something
Hmm.
and he got this job and he was just given a tablet and told to copy numbers out of the phone book or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, I could see it. I guess I don't know. Even if you just did cubes a day, you could just imagine you're building your own mini Borg fleet.
Yeah, it would be like drawing Minecraft.
Yeah, there we go. Minecraft fan art. Everything cubed. So, on your page, some of the animations that stick out in my mind, I don't know. Well, which one would you say? Which of your animations has had the most effect or the biggest response?
Let's see. DeviantArt statistics.
Well, no, no, don't look.
No,
Not specific numbers. What sticks out first in your mind when I say
well,
that?
I know the one that people love the most is the Cutie Mark Crusaders beep beep animation.
Ah, yes, beep beep. That was definitely one I was going to mention, but yeah, yeah. So, real fast, if anybody doesn't know, go check out. I won't, say anything, but you can find it on YouTube or DeviantArt. Just beep beep by Snapai,
Hmm.
and prepare to have your mind invaded for a long time. Where did you find the song? Because I assume that's not you singing.
No,
No
that's
offense to your
actually
voice, but you don't sound that high pitched.
it's actually by a German ringtone company. I believe they're called Jamba.
Okay,
And I had known the song for years.
really?
There's
Okay,
songs for a couple years.
okay, okay.
Um, it's sung by a little bunny named well, in the German version they call him Schnuffle, and in English they called him Snuggle Bunny, which I don't know.
Okay.
I think Schnuffle's a perfectly good
Yeah,
name
I
for
think
him,
Schnaffel's fine.
but
Huh.
but yeah, and I kind of feel bad because I was always going to that YouTube video of the original song,
Uh-huh.
and playing it because hey, it's a catchy song, and
It
now when I
is.
go there, it's just the comments section is flooded with ponies brought me here. Cutie Mark Crusaders are cuter than this. The lip sync stuff.
It's like check the date, man. They were first. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I posted that,
Mm.
apparently Black Griffin is also a fairly big fan of Schnuffle. So
Okay.
he's one of the few people who saw things like, "Oh my gosh, I love that song. I'd forgotten about Schnuffle."
So he was one of the few people who recognized it for the song as opposed to
Uh-huh.
just the cutie. Ah, that's great. Yeah, I think there is a YouTube version that's like 10.5 minutes.
Yeah, people have been looping it. I'm sure there's someone who's done like 15 hours or a
Oh,
week at
probably.
this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's great stuff, but I think that would drive me nuts. I honestly do. I'd have to be carted out in a straitjacket if I listened to it for that long.
Yeah, it's funny. People comment and it's like, I've been listening to this. I listened to this for an hour yesterday, and like, and I'm sitting there thinking, well, neat. I listened to it for a couple seconds, like, cool, that's that animation I made, and then I go hit stop or
Yeah.
get away.
Well, it is. I mean, it would be a good background noise if you don't want to think about something but just need something in the background. Dee, 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 yeah, that would be work. That would do it. One other animation that sticks out in my mind in your collection is the low flyer.
Uh-huh. That was actually done during the production for Beep Beep.
Oh wow.
'Cause,
Okay.
yeah, I already had Scootaloo mostly animated, so I
Uh-huh.
already knew how the tail switch was going to work,
Okay.
and then I looked, I think it was on DeviantArt and said Sibsy's birthday is coming up in
Oh.
3 days. I'm like, oh, I bet I'm the only one who's going to do a birthday fan art for her. Yeah, sure. But I'm like, okay, I'll get on live stream, well, Ustream, and I did that entire animation in 8 hours.
Wow.
It was a marathon 8 hours.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
It's like
That's
the 8 hours of continuous work without getting up, except use the restroom or whatever.
right, right. Yeah, and again, anybody who doesn't know that, you should check it out. It's entertaining. It's got wildfire in front of. Did you choose the car specifically based on Sibsy or just a
Yeah,
car?
yeah. I actually went to her she has a blog specifically for her work on her car,
Okay, okay.
and I used that some reference images of it with its hood opened and do the
Okay,
car that she was working on.
okay. So it has wildfire in front of Sibsy's car, doing a
Hmm.
little boppy beat to
Yep,
Low Flyer song, if anybody knows, or
yep.
Low Rider, but yeah.
Lowrider. Yeah, Lowrider's the sort of song that if it's playing and you're working, you'd probably be doing the same dance.
Yeah, yeah, and actually, I've talked to a few people that didn't recognize the name, but after like three or four notes, they're like, "Oh yeah, 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 I know this, I know this."
Yeah.
Yep. Now, did you have any other? Well, all right, I'm not sure how much you want to talk about it, but on your DeviantArt recently, we've seen a few bops,
Mm-hmm.
Lyra Bop and Bon Bon Bop,
Yep.
and I would assume that's not the completed thing; that it's working towards an end.
Right. I picked that up from Black Griffin since people seem to like that. Had the rigs built and like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do just a little bit of animation of the character just as a
Uh huh.
preview for what I'm working on.
Ah, I see, I see. Is that one going to be more epic than Schnuffle Bunny's CMC? Or
I don't think it will be as cute, but I'm sure people will
okay.
laugh.
Ah, interesting. Okay, all right.
And there's actually a hint on each of those bops. There's a lyric in the description that's translated from a song that has to do with this animation.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So anybody who hasn't gotten it yet. Now, something I did notice on one of the comments on that, several people were saying about the speed of the bop, and apparently different browsers put it at the correct different speed.
Yeah, well, originally I had uploaded it as a GIF, which you can still see on it's on my Tumblr. Someone uploaded the GIFs to Derpy Burrow.
Okay.
Equestria Daily used the GIF from Lyra,
Right.
but it actually plays too slow in
Okay.
Firefox for
Okay.
whatever
Okay.
reason.
So if somebody wants to see the intended speed, they should use Chrome
Well,
or
now if you go to my DeviantArt page,
yeah.
it's in Swift, it's in Flash, so the
Okay.
Flash player plays the same speed regardless. But
Ah,
yeah, if you're
okay.
looking at the GIF images, either the thumbnail icons or
Hmm.
the ones on my Tumblr, Chrome plays them at the correct speed.
Ah, okay. All right.
And I didn't bother checking Internet Explorer.
Well, come on now. I use Netscape, and I deserve just as... No, okay. All right. I can't complete that sentence with a straight face. That...
I haven't tested it in links either, but
Yeah, yeah.
considering that's text only, I don't think links.
Just see, head goes up, head goes down, head goes up, head goes down. Oh, okay. It seems to be working. Yep.
It's like there is an image in this spot. Click here to download it so you can view it with a separate program.
That's
But yeah, the GIFs are set to frame delay of I believe it's 41 milliseconds, which works out to about I think 24 frames per second.
Okay.
which Chrome displays and Firefox doesn't.
Interesting. Huh. That's a shortcoming on Firefox, it would seem.
Yeah, and I think Firefox may just not update that often
Okay. Okay.
because I've had work fine with stuff that I've done at half that frame rate.
Huh. All right. Interesting. I honestly am mostly clueless on the animation thing. What is the average frames per second on an?
Um, hmm. Nowadays you can set a frames per second to whatever you want.
Right.
Um, Most animation does it at 24 frames per second
Okay.
or 12 frames per second every other frame, which is usually called on ones or on twos.
Mhm.
I originally didn't do that back when I was starting animation because the way I figured, the way it was always reasoned was, 24 frames per second is based on the speed that 35 millimeter film runs through the camera.
Okay. Okay.
And when I was working in college, I'm like, well, I'm doing stuff for video. Why don't I do it at like, well, in the
Video
U.
rate. Right.
I'm in the U.S., so that would be 30 frames per second or 15 if I'm doing it on twos.
Okay. Okay.
And I have no idea well, PAL would be almost the same as film. But actually, what it turns out that a lot of the motions
Uh-huh.
and general walk timings that you do in animation
Mm-hmm.
break down more mathematically easily
Huh.
if you're doing it on over 24 frames a second.
Okay. Okay. Well, again, I don't know animation, but I do know 12 just is a beautiful number for factorials. Factor of 2, factor of 3, factor of 4, factor of 6. It's all covered.
Right.
But
And I think march time is about 3 steps a second or
okay.
so. So at 24 frames per second, that breaks down into 8 frames per step, which is
Yeah.
very easy to divide up.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes
Whereas
sense.
whereas in at 30 frames per second, it winds up being 5 or 10, and then you have to divide things in fifths or
Yeah.
thirds,
Yeah.
and it winds up being a mess.
Huh. Learn math, kids. It can help you when you animate. Mm-hmm.
I wish someone had explained that to me a lot earlier because I spent years working on stuff at 15 and 30 only to
Uh-huh.
find out that even though they may have originally done it because the camera is shooting at 24 frames per second, that's not the reason that anyone does it anymore. It's
Yeah.
just because that division of time works better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And actually, if you go through the show, My Little Pony show,
Yeah.
it is at well, it's at 12 or 24, whatever's convenient for them. Because
Okay.
using Flash tweens, you can kind of do either one.
Right.
But like if you have it on QuickTime or whatever,
Mhm.
because QuickTime is at 30 frames per second, you can step through it and count how often it skips a frame to figure out whether it's running on 12 or
Oh,
24.
okay. All right. So your animation is show timed accurate then.
Yeah, all the ones I've done only have been either 12 or 24.
All right. Huh. A lot more detail into. I love talking to people and realizing stuff like that I have no clue about. It's like, wow, people put thought into this stuff. That's
Oh yeah,
cool. I had no idea.
yeah.
No, I'm completely clueless about it, so this is really interesting to me. Well, I know Luna Lyra Bop. Or is there a title on that we can have, or just Luna Lyra Bop, and we'll leave it at that for
Well,
now?
it's not Luna, it's Lyra and Bon Bon, but
Oh, jeez, I am. Huh, my apologies.
there will be a completely unrelated title to the on the actual animation I'm developing for them, but
Okay.
that would give everything away.
Oh, all right, all right. So we can't talk about it. My apologies. Okay. So Lyra Bon Bon Bop, future project. Yeah, but we don't know.
I may have posted some sketches relevant to the final animation somewhere. I don't maybe on my
Okay.
Tumblr or something like that. So it's not like it's a secret that no one should know. I just
Right.
if people want to be surprised, I'd figure I'd let them.
Okay. All right. Have you thought of anything that you're really itching to try after that?
Actually, I have a project that I've been working on since before I did the CMC beep beep animation.
You just have layers upon layers of projects, don't you? You
Oh yeah,
start one and like, I need a break and I'm going to do a full project in the middle of this break, but then in the middle of that one, I'm doing this project.
I start projects a lot easier than I finish them actually. But now, I was I forget what I was waiting for on the other project, but I'm like, well, I just did this cute little animation of, well, not animation, cute little illustration of the Cutie Mark Crusaders,
Hmm.
um, riding, being pulled by Scootaloo
Right.
in this on her scooter,
Uh-huh.
and let's see, I think I submitted it to some DeviantArt group, and they said we aren't going to accept this because it's line art, it's not in color.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, well, huh. I guess I'll animate it. And that, so it's like I'll just spend a couple of days. Meanwhile, 2 months later. But no, the project I was working on before that, which I've shown to lots of people and helped lots of people, was
Okay.
a commercial, a pseudo commercial starring Derpy,
Oh, okay. Okay.
called. It has two names. It's either Dos Ojos or
Okay.
the most interesting mare in Equestria.
Hmm. Okay. Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
parodying the Dos Equis
Right. Right.
commercials.
Yes. Okay.
So that
Okay.
that should be fun.
Oh, okay. I won't ask more about it because I think that kind of gives the gist of it, but
Hmm.
we'll look for it. Dos ojos.
Yes. Yeah. Assuming I don't start another project after I finish this
Right.
one
Yeah.
before I
Yeah.
get
Yeah. You'll
done.
probably get another 6 seconds done, and then like, okay, you know what? I just had this perfect idea, and
Uh,
that's.
that, that,
Mm,
that's one of the downsides to animation. It's
mhm.
very easy to imagine an animation you'd like to create.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of work to put it into something that's
Oh, sure. Sure.
actually
Yeah.
visible.
Have there been any projects that you've worked on and then just totally scrapped because you lost the inspiration and just I can't do this anymore?
No, I have a lot of projects that are unfinished, but
Okay.
usually I don't scrap them. Usually I just sort of put either either they're already posted online or they're
Hmm.
in a folder somewhere. I'm like, I'll get around to that as soon as my motivation for that project comes back.
Okay.
And
All right.
years later, it's
So we haven't given up. We're just unfinished for indefinite amount of time.
yeah.
Ah, okay, okay.
If I ever find an unlimited amount of inspiration and energy and
And time
creativity,
and
I'll
money. Yeah, yeah. We're all kind of looking for that right now, but getting there. Problem is we have finite numbers to try to make that infinite leap. It's difficult, but well, if anybody follows you on Twitter, they probably are aware of. Very recently, you've well, I guess yeah, very recently, you've started up an aquarium.
oh yeah.
Yeah, can you talk about your aquarium? Because I find this stuff interesting. I really, honestly, I don't have an aquarium. I've got a cat, so any fish are going to be eaten very quickly. But
Well, I have a cat, and
oh,
and
okay.
and and he should be very entertained by this. I actually used a piece of light grating as the cover for it, so there's it's very easy to put stuff into the fish tank, but there's no way that the cat will get into the fish tank.
Okay, okay.
Um, and it's actually not just a fish tank; it's actually an aquaponics setup.
Oh, okay, okay.
And aquaponics is sort of like it's like merging aquaculture, which is raising fish,
Hmm.
and hydroponics, which is raising plants without dirt that you're growing in them, soilless medium,
Right.
but without the chemicals of hydroponics and without the waste water of aquaculture.
Oh, okay.
And
Oh,
so yeah, I've got a little windowsill garden started with a cucumber sprout coming up and a couple
oh, nice.
tomato sprouts and Swiss chard and then a bunch of vegetables that haven't sprouted yet, but I'm kind of hoping they will. I've got some chili peppers and some
Oh,
catnip and stuff
nice.
in there.
Nice. Are you going for any daikon or anything odd?
No,
Okay.
I was considering doing daikon, but
Hmm.
those grow so long underneath the
That's true.
whatever
Yes.
they're growing in, and right now I've got everything planted in sterilite containers. They're about 6 inches deep.
Yeah, a 6-inch daikon just not worth it. Not. Yeah.
Yes, or it might go sideways and just sort of fill up. The...
You just hear a cracking sound as it explodes out. Ah, no. Well, what ultimately, what type of fish setup? What type of fish are you intending to get in there?
I'm planning on putting tilapia in there, a food fish.
Okay.
Uh, probably going to
Food
get
for you or food for
for
cat?
me. Well,
Oh, okay, okay.
yeah. I mean, I could conceivably just leave them to swim in there and be decorative, but
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
you know. edible fish. So they won't have names.
Yeah,
But
I think I bugged you on that. I said, give them names. You're like, no, they're going to be eaten. Like, still, you could call them fillet and tartar and
uh,
lemon
is that,
wedge.
name all the females Rose and all the males Milt and or something. Milton.
Yeah. Actually,
But
I like the idea of just naming food fish. Okay, how you doing, sushi? Nice to see you.
yeah, it's kind of funny. I originally heard of aquaponics from a friend of mine in California
Mhm.
who someday has these this vision of someday setting up his own giant indoor aquaponics farm in a giant high-rise building in a downtown somewhere and
Right.
providing vegetables and fish to it. But I'm like, I'll look into it. It's like, oh, it's really easy. You just have a fish tank that pumps water into these, you know, beds for vegetables that have like either little clay beads or
Uh-huh.
little bits of lava rock in them,
Right.
and have a little siphon that lets them fill up and then drains them.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And
Oh,
that's a lot simpler than I thought it was.
yeah.
And it turns out that I live in North Carolina, and
Hmm.
North Carolina State University is one of the places that pioneered this method of
Oh, okay.
farming vegetables and fish,
Oh, interesting.
and then really took off in actually in Australia and Hawaii.
Okay. Okay.
Because I guess in Australia there's not much good farmland,
Yeah, that would
and
make sense.
aquaponics does not require any. All it
Yeah.
requires is sunshine
Hmm.
and a small supply of water.
Honestly, I gotta say if word of it reaches Japan, it's gonna explode over here because there
There,
is no
I've
farmland.
already seen a few places online where they've made like you know decorative office but nature connected
Yes.
things where they
Yes.
have a big cylindrical fish tank with decorative koi swimming around in it and
Hmm.
vegetables growing off the side that can be harvested that
Yeah.
they
That would.
kept and stuff.
Yeah, that'll explode over here because there's a
Yeah,
lot of fresh water and no land for farming.
yeah,
So yeah,
and
that's a good idea.
it doesn't really require much fresh water either because it's kind of a it's not a closed system because you still have to add the fish food and the
Right.
sunlight and that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But it is symbiotic. The water that the fish effluent that winds up in the water
Hmm.
is metabolized by bacteria and becomes plant food.
Right. Okay.
And so the plants clean and oxygenate the water, which goes back to the fish. And
It's the
so
circle of. Okay, sorry. We will
yeah,
spare people my singing. Let's.
if you go look up videos on it, there's farmers that are talking about, yeah, I used to have to use 20,000 gallons of water to irrigate my crops a month, and now I use 60 to keep my system full.
Wow. That's a
So,
significant change. Yeah.
yeah,
Goodness.
it's I think there was a guy in Hawaii who was talking about that
Hmm. Hmm.
because
That's interesting.
apparently Hawaii is the other place that it's really taken off because they import a lot of their food because they
Yeah.
don't have, you know, land prices are so high that
Well, sure. Sure.
for them to grow food there is can be
I'm sure it's prohibitively expensive. Yeah.
yeah prohibitively expensive. But University of Hawaii is doing all kinds of experiments with
Sure.
aquaponics.
Yeah. Well, I do know that Hawaii is the only American state that grows coffee.
Hmm.
So I don't think Hawaii will ever go broke.
Oh
As
no,
long as we have something that can provide us coffee, they're fine.
yeah, but I mean, mostly it's out of concern, like if something happens to the shipping channels,
Yes, that's
they
true.
don't have any established
Yeah,
way to produce a large amount of food.
yeah, yeah, that's true. Japan also, I mean, every year they'll put out a calorie count, which maximum able to be produced by Japan versus minimum calorie needed by Japanese people, and Japan is always in a huge shortfall, and it does concern a lot of people. Like
Mhm.
if something happens, yeah, we a lot of people aren't going to be able to make it because we don't have enough food. So yeah, I can understand the idea. I'm sure. I hope this explodes. I really do. Not
Yeah,
literally. Not.
exploding fish. No, that
That would
kind
get
of
the
explode.
funding more possibly, but no, no, no. Well, I asked this question on most people that I talk to. In My Little Pony, Is
Uh-huh.
there one specific scene or line that defines your broniedom?
I have no idea.
Okay. Or just one scene or one line that really sticks out for you as a prime example.
Well, the only thing that comes to mind has absolutely nothing to do with you know with my fandom of the show or anything. It's
Okay.
Pinkie Pie going, enough chit chat, time is candy.
Ah, that's a good one.
It's
Well, that's absolutely has to do with you because it's just everybody knows time is money, but money is a intangible thing unless you have it right in your hand. But candy, come on, everybody knows candy. Yeah, that's a good. I like that. Time is candy. Are there any other projects that you'd like to plug while you have a chance, or something that you want people to check out?
um not I I don't know. The other project that I'm working on right now, which has nothing to do with Pony, is
Oh,
that I'm working on. I was just last weekend. I was at the fair, and they had a local hacker space that had a little MakerBot printing, which is a type of 3D printer. And I'm like, oh, I need to get back on working on this 3D printer project that's been sitting on my filing cabinet for 3 years,
mm-hmm.
untouched.
Oh,
So I'm working on that,
okay, all right. So,
but it's going to be a replicating rapid prototyper, which can print not all of its parts, but all the specific structural parts that you can use to make a new one.
oh, okay, all right. So you just hit the on button and let them go do their thing.
Yeah, well, you have to upload the specific files, but yeah, you load it with the plastic feedstock and hit go, and it prints out whatever plastic pieces you need.
In next year's news, humanity is doomed because of Snapai's work on this self-replicating robot that won't stop.
Actually, most of the work on that is being done by individuals around the world, but
Mhm.
there's at the University of Bath in England is the guy who originally developed the design for it,
Oh, okay.
and is doing a lot of work towards making new revisions of it that can print more materials, print their own circuitry, that sort of thing.
Wow.
And of course, the fun part is the new one. You can print all the parts to make the new one on the old one, so you can just plug in some plastic stock and upgrade it.
Wow.
It's kind of like the real world version of computer compiler or something like that.
Yeah, just hit the button, let them go do their thing, and hope they don't take over humanity. That does sound really interesting. I hope that works out well. Do you have
Yeah,
a
I
time
mean
frame on
it's
that? Or
oh, no clue. Like I
oh,
said,
okay.
it's been sitting on my filing cabinet for um it's been sitting on my filing cabinet for the better part of 3 years. So
Okay, so when it gets done, it gets done. But yeah, not sure.
yeah,
You may decide to finish that before you finish the next project, just because it's right there.
yeah, and of course it doesn't print off completed 3D printers. It prints off a sheet of plastic parts, and then you have to get the other
Right.
parts. It's some assembly required. World domination, some assembly required.
Yes. Okay. Oh, that's excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming to chat with us today.
No problem.
Do appreciate it. Um, yeah, everybody, this has been Into the Spotlight. I'm your host, Osaka Jack, and with me today has been Snapai. Follow him on Twitter, DeviantArt, and Tumblr as well. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. Any other social media that you want people to follow you on?
Mm, those are the only three that I can think of. I mean,
Okay.
I'm on YouTube, but YouTube never notifies me of comments that I get, so it doesn't really do much good to follow me there.
Okay, so follow YouTube, but put your comment somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you much.